Well, since the lighting is bad in my apartment, I have to turn on this camper light before I talk about what I'm going to talk about in this video. Well, as you know, I talked about being disabled yesterday. But I'll go into broader details why it's so difficult for me to live off of Social Security. Because first off, the cost of living raises up faster than Social Security does. The typical amount that Social Security raises up every 3 years is approximately $15 every 3 years. And the cost of living rises up to maybe 85 or maybe 160 a year every year. But because I'm disabled, everything's stacked against me. I could get a job, work 20 hours, but you know how much I get paid because of me getting Social Security? $5 for 8 hours. $5 for 8 hours. Just because I'm disabled. And honestly, it's very hard for me to live off of my Social Security check right now, because my rent went up to a total of $511. It goes up every year. Right now, it's going to be, starting in June, is $511. And I've lived in my apartment complex in Anaheim for approximately 8 years. And don't get me wrong, I get help from the regional center and all that stuff and all the government programs that are out there, but the cost of living raises up faster than they're willing to forego over more money for those kind of programs so I can live a normal life. And every time I tell people that I'm actually disabled, when I actually am, people don't seem to believe me anyway. And for me to talk about this is very difficult. Every one of my friends or my buddies or whoever I've met says I'm lucky. No, I'm not. As I said before, I'm scrutinized by government programs. I'm basically stuck playing nice with certain government programs that I have. I get free healthcare, but again, that healthcare really is bottom of the barrel, and in all honesty, I don't know, even if I got a 20-hour work week, I would again get only $5 an hour, or $5 every 8 hours for the next 5 days working at a program that is funded by the government, because we're now disabled people are the black people in the workforce, where they got disrespected and all that other stuff. And in all honesty, I don't get it. Everybody says, well, for getting Social Security, you don't have to worry about taxes. Honestly, guys, whoever's gonna listen to this video later on, you guys are the lucky ones, because I said this in my yesterday's video too, or in my previous video a couple hours ago. Never take your physical limitations for what they are. Never take them for granted, because again, you guys are able to work 8 hours, get paid $10 an hour, but everybody who is normal doesn't appreciate sometimes how lucky they are to have normal jobs, working from 9 to 5 and stuff like that, and working for $11 an hour. I would be lucky, I would be grateful to work $11 an hour if I could. But for me, because I'm physically unable to work a physical labor kind of job, most jobs require you to be physically fit or able to walk also on top of that. And it feels like when I got my rent increased this a couple days ago, I'm looking at it like $4.95 or $5.11 next month, and at this point I'm only going to be able to cover my bills. And how is that fair to me when everything's stacked against me? Healthcare is not the best for disabled people. Healthcare is probably the worst thing ever, even though certain things are free. Because it's free, I guess that's why it sucks. But in layman's terms, because everything is not in my favor, like a regular paying job, I can't live a normal life. I can't be left alone by government programs. I can't. You guys don't understand how lucky you guys are, who are normal, able-bodied, functioning individuals. You guys don't know how lucky you are, because you're able to do things that I physically can't. And you guys think that going in front of the line in Disneyland is the best thing in the world because I'm disabled. But I would trade all that to be normal for a day, because that's what it should be. Being normal is better than being disabled, because if I knew I was gonna get it like this hard every time I was stuck in a government situation with government funding, I would trade that all day, every day, if I possibly could have. Because every time, let's say the average individual gets paid maybe $1,200 every 2 weeks. Let's say that. Okay, you guys might say most of that goes to your car. which I understand that. But for me, I have to be lucky to scrounge around to pay my rent, and I have to find the resources to pay my rent every month, and only have enough for maybe one video every month, because I don't have the luxury of going out all the time. You guys don't know how lucky you guys are. You guys drive, you guys are able to come and go as you please, not have to answer to any other individual, and honestly, and you can't do nothing if you're like me. You have to be constantly told what you cannot and cannot do, and all that other stuff. You're constantly being treated like not an equal, not a respectable person. And honestly, being disabled sucks, because everything for me is stuck on a level where I can't, everything's stacked against me. Because I have CP, there are different levels of disability. Where, let's see, there are people that cannot walk like me. There are people with blindness. There are people with spinal problems in general, which I have to deal with that also, because I sit down all the time. And I only get paid $895 a month, and a normal person probably will get $1,200 every 2 weeks, because they get paid twice, 2 times a week. And you guys don't know how lucky you guys are, because everybody says you don't have to pay taxes. I would trade any of that any day of the week, because as of right now, I'm having trouble even trying to pay my rent. I can't even pay my mom for what she does for my groceries, because of my financial struggles. So one thing has to happen. Either my rent, my Social Security needs to be updated normally, like a normal person. Like, goes up every 6 months. Or the government funded programs that I'm in needs to raise their financial backing for my housing thing, because I cannot pay my mom back for all her groceries that she does for me. I can't do any of that. I can't. This is why. Hold on. Sorry. I'll answer that later. But as of right now, it's like the hardest thing in the world for me, because I'm not a greedy person. I'm not a mean person, but I get mad like everybody else. But everybody treats me like, oh, he's mentally unstable because of his disability. If it was a normal person, they wouldn't say that kind of stuff to me. And honestly, if I had to go through all the stuff that I'm going through now, I would have never left home based on my financial situation. And government-funded programs tell you that you're going to get paid more if you move out of your grandparents' house or whatever. But that's not the case they'll pay you the bare minimum of whatever I'm getting right now, and then you're stuck. They won't pay you anything more than maybe $15 every 3 years or something like that. And this is what I'm telling you. This is what my life is like. Back in the day when I first started living here, I could afford it. And it's gotten to a point where I understand why there's four roommates living in a 2-bedroom apartment. Now I get it, guys, or girls, or whoever's gonna watch this, because I get it now. But for me, being disabled 10 times over really blows. I mean, it sucks to a T where everybody says you get free healthcare, but the healthcare sucks. And honestly, I know I get a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of negatives. You cannot get a job because they look at you from a physical standpoint, but some people who have no physical limitations are actually the ones who are disabled also. And to tell you the truth, life for me is hard. Even my mom helps me out all the time. But yet, it's still hard for me even if she helps me out. Because she works for me too. So, and she's my mother, so she'll help me out regardless. But it's still hard for her. And sometimes I wish I could do more for her by getting a regular job that pays an extra, $400 every 2 weeks. But then again, government funding would be deducted from that amount because I get paid SocialSecurity. So the reason why I'm telling you this, it has a lot of negatives. So every normal person out there is more luckier than I am, because you guys could come and go as you please. You don't have to answer to no one except for the IRS or on occasion. And yeah, that's it. That's all you guys have to worry about is your taxes. That's it. But for me, I have to worry about everything else. Where am I gonna be able to eat next month? Or am I gonna be able to get this done? Or something else? Like, it's kind of one-sided when you look at it, when it comes down to where I'm coming from. Because being disabled how I am, I'm as normal as they come. I could talk normally, but I was born with a brain, less oxygen to my brain when I was born. That's why my legs are physically not able to work by themselves. I need assistance from my mother to maybe take a couple steps. But for the most part, I'm crawling on the floor all the time because I'm disabled. So, or I'm in my wheelchair all the time. So if you guys don't understand that, then I can't help you. But I hope you guys will understand someday, because eventually we will all be disabled. Unfortunately for me, I got it earlier on in life. Apparently for me, I got it when I was 3. They told me all this other stuff was gonna go down. I could only take a couple steps when I was 3 years old, but that's about it. I couldn't do anything. I was rolling instead of crawling when I was actually supposed to crawl. I would roll instead of crawling when I was born. So when I was getting to the age where I was supposed to crawl when I was born. And my mom does the best that she can with what she's got. But even then, sometimes that's not good enough. And my family says to me, why don't you get a job? Well, that's not as easy to come by. I would have to work for somebody that I know of that will respect me on an equal basis, and I would work for him for food. If anything, I would work for food, or if he didn't have money on him. But people don't understand that you need to survive on money for food for the most part. You don't need a car, but you guys get a car anyway depending on where you go for work. But which I understand that too. But normal people like me or yourselves don't. I met some people that says you guys are so lucky that you don't pay taxes. That's not it. You guys don't know how lucky you guys are. You guys don't have to be watched over your shoulder 24/7. Or you guys don't have to be ridiculed on what you're doing tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. Because you guys get a regular salary, which is roughly $600 every 2 weeks, and you live your lives in peace and all that other stuff. But for me, again, since I'm disabled, I only get paid an X amount of money every month, and I struggle with it every day. I don't think it's fair that my mom, that I cannot help my mom out when I need to. And my rent is $5.11, and I only get paid an X amount. That's more than half my amount that I get from Social Security. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to my channel, and I would be eternally grateful if anybody's going to watch this, because it's getting harder for me to actually live on my own. And I wonder why they tell you get more money by the government, that you're gonna get more money if you live by yourself. No, that's not how it works. The truth is, you get your normal amount, which is 8 something, and then you struggle with everything else. And then you're stuck. You don't get no regular increases like a regular job. You don't get none of that like a normal person does. But everybody who says, I want to raise for my job or something like that, you gotta wonder, do you actually deserve it? And do you actually need it? Depending on how many kids you have, yes you do. But do you actually need a raise? You gotta think. You gotta appreciate what $1,200 or $1,300 does for a normal person every month, every 2 weeks to be exact, give or take. Because I know I could relate to that. I could utilize that in a way that a normal individual does not appreciate that. because I would take that any day of the week. And whoever's gonna listen to this, I thank you for watching. Because as of right now, I'm kind of tired and all that stuff. I got yelled at and all that. It's no different than living at my grandfather's house. If I'm gonna get yelled at, I might as well get yelled at by him. I mean, come on. I mean, that's why I moved out in the first place, to be totally honest with you. Because I was always getting into arguments with him, which I didn't actually want to get in arguments with him. But if I knew it was gonna be like this, I would have never left home. I would have never left, and I would have never bothered with this problem that I'm having with right now. To be totally honest with you. And in retrospect, I would have never left home if I'm struggling this much to live every month or every year approximately, because it's just getting worse for me. So I would appreciate it if you guys are new watchers, please subscribe to my channel, and I would be thankful for you guys doing that, because it would really help me out too. So, in retrospect, that's what it is. So, because right now I gotta answer this text that I got, so I'll check you guys later. And I'll change the title of this later, because I didn't get it, because I don't have the motor functions to do it by typing on the PlayStation 4. So I'll just do it on my phone when I get a chance to. So check you later. Bye.
Text to speech. Text to speech.